What would you do differently if you were starting your Etsy business today? This is a question I get a lot, and I know hindsight is 2020, but after doing Etsy for a decade now, starting, building, running, and growing my business, there is plenty that I would have done differently if I would know then what I know now, right? And this is what I want to dive in and talk about in today's episode. Let's go. Hey everyone, what is happening? Welcome back to the Handmade and Beyond podcast. I'm your host, LL. Glad to be back hanging out with you guys, talking about Etsy, helping you guys with your Etsy business. Today, I'm bringing the fire with this episode. I'm going to talk about the things that I would do differently if I was starting an Etsy business now than what I did when I started 10 years ago with my business, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was like a lost little boy in the forest, making lots of mistakes, doing a lot of stuff wrong, which I've talked about in past episodes. I can fill many shows talking about the things that I've done wrong in my Etsy business and the mistakes that I've made. And that's all part of the journey. You're going to make mistakes, but it's all about learning from your mistakes, self-correcting, and doing things better the next go around. That's how you improve, that's how you grow, and that's how you don't make the same mistakes again. So I want to dive in and give you guys 5 things that I would do differently now if I was starting my Etsy business. And before we get started, I want to let you know I have a new guide out for you that you can get. It's a free guide talking about giving you tips and strategies on how to accelerate your Etsy sales. And of course, it's the Accelerate Your Etsy Sales Guide. That makes sense, right? You guys can get it at handmadeandbeyond.com/accelerate if you haven't gotten that already. Quick, easy to read, easy to implement strategies to help your business grow. I want to always make sure I'm giving you guys some free stuff to help you with your business. That's what I'm here for. So let's dive in and talk about these things that I would do differently now if I was starting a business. And you can learn and benefit from my mistakes because that's what I'm here to do. And these are some pretty big things. This list is not comprehensive. There's more than this, but these are kind of the main things after thinking back in my business and the mistakes that I've made that I would do differently. So number one is I would have done much more research before launching my shop. And I'm the type of person where taking action is not the problem for me. A lot of people have the problem of they want to do something, but they don't want to dive in head first. They're afraid to start it. I'm not afraid to start. I start too fast and I don't really think through things thoroughly sometimes. So I'll dive in, I'll just make the decision to do it and ask for forgiveness later and clean up my own mess later, which is not necessarily a good thing. You should, I think, be somewhere in the middle where you're cautiously moving forward, but you're making sure you're doing your due diligence. So I should have probably did more due diligence before I started. What am I talking about here? Well, I'm talking about researching my niche a little bit more, researching the products a little bit more, the product lines, before I actually just threw mud on the wall. Because when I opened, I released a lot of products and a lot of things that didn't do well because I was basing it on no information. I was just throwing things out there. I was like, oh, this is something I want to do or something I think would do well, but I didn't look at competition. I didn't do research to see kind of what niches were selling, what niches were doing well. Did it align with things that I wanted to do? Did it align with the products that I wanted to do, what I wanted to implement? And just doing that research, I know you're not going to be selling the exact same thing, but subject matter and certain niches do well, and then you're going to have your own niche that you're going to carve out of that. So that's the type of information that you need to glean and do research on. And you can use programs. I always recommend Alora. I'll put a link below. You can do keyword research, product research, niche research using that platform. So you guys know, okay, I at least have the potential to make some of these sales. Whereas before, I was just throwing products out there. I had no idea if that stuff was selling, if people even wanted it. So I put a lot of stuff out there and had to pivot because my stuff wasn't selling because I was basing it on no information. I didn't do any of that research, so it was a waste of time. Really, that's what it came down to. It wasted time. It sucked time away from the things that I should have been doing to grow my business faster. So that's kind of what I'm talking about, making sure you're researching your potential products before you create them, researching your potential niche before you kind of dive in and start releasing stuff. And again, don't use this as an excuse not to start, this due diligence. Don't be like, oh, I got to do more research. I got to spend more time. No, carve out a time, use these, if you use a program such as Allura, you can do this research really fast. With a couple of clicks, you'll know, okay, this stuff's selling, this stuff's not selling based on the keywords that you want to use. And you'll know, okay, that at least has the potential to get a significant amount of sales. All right, I'm going to create the product, put it out there. That's what I'm talking about. So don't let it be an impediment to starting and not starting rather. Just work it into your workflow, do it, and then move on. All right. Number 2 is kind of piggybacking off the first one, is start out with better SEO so you don't have to fix it later. So what I'm talking, this kind of really pairs with research, SEO research, keyword research. So what I'm particularly talking about right in this example is keywords. So making sure you're starting out with the best keywords that are related and relevant to what you're selling. And how do you know what the best keywords are? Well, you can look at your competition, see what keywords they're using on Etsy, or again, you can use a program such as Allura. There's other programs out there that you can do keyword research with, and you see, okay, this keyword is bringing in 1,000 sales a month or 10,000 sales a month. So if I use this keyword and it's relevant to what I'm selling, I have the potential to get some of those sales. If I do a keyword research and it's bringing in 5 sales a month, that's probably not a keyword I want to use because there's no sales. People aren't using that keyword to search and buy stuff. Why would I ever use that? But you will never know that if you don't do the proper keyword research, and also just identifying the things that you should be doing when it comes to putting your keywords in your title, your tags, your description, the best practices when it comes to those. And I've talked about those and that stuff in previous episodes. Also, if you get that Accelerate guide, handmadeandbeyond.com/accelerate, there are some strategies that I talk about in there when it comes to SEO as well. So make sure you're doing that so you don't have to come back and fix it later. I can't tell you how many times I came back and revamped hundreds of listings because I got at a certain point in the road and realized I was doing everything wrong when it came to how I was setting up my listings, and I had to revamp them and then revamp them again and revamp them again. It was a lot of time, a lot of energy, and it's not a fun thing to do, is come back and mess with your keywords and your listings. It's very mundane, it's very tedious. So it's much better just to do it right the first time. Granted, you're still gonna make mistakes, but at least if you have the knowledge and a guide and something to follow, and at least are acting on viable information, it's gonna help you be more successful with it the first go around than the 5th or 6th go around. All right, number 3 is don't cut corners with your pictures. Again, this is something, my pictures were hot garbage when I released them. When I started doing pictures at the beginning, hot, literal garbage, I can't even think of any worse terms to use. They were bad. They were not good. They were dark. It didn't look great. So just make sure you're practicing. Look at your competition. Look at other sellers on Etsy. See their pictures. See how they're presenting their pictures. If your pictures don't look like that, then you have to go back to the drawing board until they do. Usually it comes down to lighting. The lighting is very, very important. You probably need more lighting. A lot of cameras on your phones now. If you have a newer phone, the camera's probably not the problem. It's probably the lighting. So the newer cameras on your phone, your iPhone, that's why I take all my pictures. My iPhone takes fantastic pictures if you have the lighting correct. If you're displaying your product correctly. So don't cut corners with your pictures. Don't just try to get it out there and think that I'm just got to get the listing out there and someone's going to buy it. No, pictures are very, very important. When someone's scrolling through Etsy, remember, they're typing in a keyword of what they're looking for. They're scrolling through Etsy. There's hundreds of products on that page that they're scrolling through. And the picture is this little small picture. So if your picture doesn't pop out, if it's not showcasing the item, they're gonna keep scrolling by and never click into your picture. So that is really important to at least getting them to click on your product. So then from there, you can sell them with the other information that's on that listing. So don't skimp on your pictures. Number 4 is do, not don't. Do start an email list sooner than later. This is going to be the lifeblood of your business later on. You start an email list now, you're gonna get it set up. It's gonna run in the background, collect subscribers, and then later on you can market to them as your list grows with new product updates, different value bombs that you're gonna send to them, promotions, sales. Email subscribers, your email converts at a much higher rate than social media. That's why I always emphasize email over social media. It's more effective. It's less of a time suck, and it converts better. But you got to start. I didn't start my email list for years, and I missed out on all those potential subscribers. So if you start now, you get a subscriber here and there. That's fine. You're still getting subscribers. Where 3 years down the road, you're going to have hundreds, if not thousands, of people that you can market to, and you can take your email list. You own it. You don't have to worry about Facebook closing your account or taking it. It's just a really smart way to build your business. Every big company or pretty much any company that is worthwhile has email lists that they market to. So it's really, really important. Again, you can use there's different programs out there to easily create an email list and an opt-in form. And it's something I've talked about on previous podcasts as well. If you want to reference those, you can use Alora. Again, it integrates with Etsy. You can build an email list with them and control it. And you also have those other tools, so you don't have to piecemeal different platforms together. In the past, I used like Aweber, and then I would use Alora for keyword research. So now you can use the one program for everything, which makes it cheaper and just easier to manage. So that's one way to do it. But I would start now and start collecting those subscribers that you can market to later. Again, you may be scared of email. It may not be as familiar, but you just got to do it. You're going to mess things up. That's fine. You're going to get better at it. You're going to refine it. And your email list will slowly grow over time that you can market to it. And then once you have a decent sized email list, it's as simple as sending out an email and getting sales. It's like magic. It's great. All right, number 5. I'm going to talk about number 5, and then I actually have a number 6 bonus one for you. So I'm giving you a bonus number 6 as well. But number 5 is know your profit margins going in. If you don't know your margins, it's really hard to make decisions that's going to benefit your business. And what I'm talking about is your profit margin is how much money you're going to make after all your costs are added up and fees are added up. And again, I'll drop a link. Alora has a free profit margin calculator. Plus you can do a search on Google. There's thousands of free profit margin calculators, but Alora actually adds in the Etsy fees because that's part of your profit margin. If you are not adding in the Etsy fees, then you're not having the correct profit margin. So your costs, your shipping costs, your manufacturing costs. If you want to include labor in there, you can include labor. It gets a little bit more difficult, but basically the cost of how much it costs to make your products, your shipping, and your fees, and then whatever is left is your profit margin. That's the money that you take home at the end of the day, or you can use to reinvest in your business with marketing, different things like that. So you have to know what your profit margin is. And I prefer people to, at least when they're starting out doing the research, unless you're selling a ton, you need to have, or at least shoot for a 50% profit margin, because that gives you wiggle room if fees increase, shipping increases, manufacturing costs increase. With COVID, I do graphic tees. All the t-shirts increased for the most part. Ink increased. So if you have a 50% profit margin, you can account for that. It'll sink your profit margin a little bit, but you're still making a decent amount of profit. It's not going to sink your business. If you have a 5% profit margin, and you have some type of increase, then before you know it, you're gonna be losing money. You're not gonna be making any money. It makes no sense. Not to mention, it's a lot harder to work for a 5% profit margin. Again, unless you're selling hundreds of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of units, then you can operate on a smaller profit margin. Like Walmart, they can operate on a 5% profit margin because they're selling millions of units. We as Handmade and Etsy sellers cannot. So know your profit margin early on. If your profit margin is too small, then you got to figure out how to increase it before you go all in your business. Maybe you need to find a different supplier. Maybe you need to tweak your niche, tweak what you're going to sell. A lot of different ways to do it, but it's much harder to do. After you're in it, you have your stuff listed and you realize, oh crap, my profit margin is too low. Then what are you going to do? You already did all that work. So you got to pivot, and you wasted all those hours and wasted all the time and that you did the work. So know your margin. And then again, it leaves wiggle room for sales and promotions, which are another important driver to help people buy more, to help increase your conversion rate. You're going to run promotions and stuff from time to time. There's a reason big box stores always run promotions and sales. It's because it works. If you don't have enough profit margin, you're never going to be able to do that. It's going to hurt your conversion rate. So work that in. You got to be able to work those components into your business and into your marketing playbook, so to speak. So that is number 5. Your bonus number 6 is the simplest one. List consistently. Have a consistent listing plan. Be listing stuff, new stuff each and every week. It keeps your shop fresh. It keeps feeding the algorithm data to help continue to analyze your shop and drive traffic to your shop. And it also gives you data to work with. So you see what's bringing in traffic, what's bringing in sales, what's successful, what's not successful. It just keeps things fresh, keeps things moving. When you walk into Target or Walmart or wherever you're shopping, the end caps are always different. Even your grocery store, the end caps are always different. There's always different sales. There's always different products. There's always different stuff, because this helps them continue to grow their business, continue to get sales, continue to drive traffic into their store. And does the same thing online. It continues to keep things fresh. It continues to drive traffic to the store, and it also continues to build out your catalog of products. The more products you have, the more keywords you have, the more potential reach you have, the more potential buyers you have. If you only have a couple of products, your reach and your potential reach is much, much smaller. So have that plan, list consistently, keeps things fresh, keeps things going, tells the algorithm that you're still in it, you're still working on your shop, and you should never let your shop get stagnant. You should never let your shop sit for weeks and weeks and weeks with nothing that you've done to it. So that's very important. But that is it, guys. Those are the 6 ways, are the 6 things that I would do differently if I was going to implement what I know now. So number 1, do more research before launching. Number 2, start with better SEO. Number 3, don't cut corners on your pictures. 4, start an email list. 5, know your margins. 6, list consistently. That's it. Those are the things. Those are important things. So hopefully that helps you guys take action on those things, those important things, so that you don't make the same mistakes that I made in my business, especially early on. And make sure you guys get that free Accelerate Your Etsy Sales Guide at handmadeandbeyond.com/accelerate. It'll help you, I promise. That is it for this episode. I'll be back really soon with some more good stuff for you. Have an amazing rest of your day.